Hi, I'm Mike from Ram Clutches, and today we're going to run through all of our different clutch sets and show you what the differences are and help you select the right one. Ram OEM replacement clutches are just that. They're a stock replacement for your stock vehicle. They're going to include an OEM style pressure plate, and if that original application used a lever style Borg & Beck or a long style, that's the pressure plate you're going to get in our kit. We do not do substitutions. Clutch disc wise, it's going to be a 5 or 6 spring hub, some with double spring. Now, if it's a later model application, it may have a helix hub, the double sprung that helps to take up for noise in the drivetrain on some of the later model transitions. Now, each clutch set's going to include the pressure plate, the clutch disc, the alignment tool, and in most cases you'll have the release bearing as well. Some of the later model applications that use an internal hydraulic bearing, that bearing is not included with that kit. Use Ram OEM replacement clutches for stock applications and street-driven vehicles that are not going to see any performance use. Ram MUSCLECAR series kits are designed for older and newer model performance cars that need a little bit of extra holding power but are still going to be basically street drivers. These kits are going to include a little higher clamp load pressure plate. The clutch disc itself is still going to be a stock style, 5 or 6 spring, or for later model applications, the helix hub, which is going to absorb a little bit of extra driveline oscillations that you get with some of those later model applications. These kits are going to include the pressure plate, the clutch disc, the alignment tool, and in most cases the release bearing. Some of the later model applications that use an internal hydraulic bearing are not going to include that bearing with it. And MUSCLECAR kits are designed for restoration vehicles, early or late model performance where you need, again, just a little bit more holding power, but they're going to be street driven and they're not going to see track use. Ram HDX clutch sets are the top level organic friction material clutch sets that Ram sells. These are going to feature an increased clamp load pressure plate with a ductile iron pressure ring. And the clutch disc is going to be 8 spring in most cases and premium organic facing, so a little bit better than what you would get with stock. Again, for later model vehicles, we're going to use that helix hub disc that helps to keep that gear rattle down, so there's going to be a few applications where that will be the case. Use your HDX set for mild street applications, bolt-ons, then primarily vehicles that are driven on the street, maybe just a once-in-a-while shot down the racetrack, up to about 450 horsepower. Now keep in mind the load factors that can affect how well that clutch is going to hold. The gearing of the car, do you have a sticky tire on it? Is the gearing good in order to make that combination work good for you? Now, Ram Powergrip clutch sets are the most popular set that we sell. These kits are going to feature a higher clamp load pressure plate and a clutch disc with a heavy-duty 8 spring hub assembly. Now, these springs are encapsulated in a urethane coating, and what that does is make that compression rate much higher on the spring and allows for more performance without beating the clutch center out of the disc. This is important because it's not something that our competitors do. The facing material is dual-sided. On the flywheel side, you're going to have a steel back organic friction material. The pressure plate side is going to have our 900 series metallic friction. Each of these kits is going to include the pressure plate, the clutch disc, the alignment tool, and in most cases, the release bearing. Some later model applications with internal hydraulics may not include the bearing. Use Powergrip clutches for mildly modified engines, performance applications, a little bit stickier tire, more of a street strip type setup up to about 550 horsepower. And keep in mind those load factors that can affect how well that clutch is going to hold. Does it have a sticky tire? Is it geared properly? And is it going to be used at the track? The Ram Powergrip HD sets are going to include a higher clamp load pressure plate with a ductile iron ring and an 8 spring hub in the clutch disc that has the urethane encapsulated springs. The friction material is now going to be 900 series metallic on both sides of the disc. So this is going to be the most aggressive of the single disc sets. And when you start to get into that gray area where you may want to consider going to a dual disc if you're looking to have very, very smooth engagement. Each kit is going to include the pressure plate, the clutch disc, the alignment tool, and in most cases the release bearing. Some of the later model hydraulic applications may not include the bearing in that kit. Now keep in mind the load factors that are involved here in this clutch set that will handle up to about 650 horsepower. That's going to be, are you on a sticky tire, how heavy is the car, and how well is it geared.